I'm Jason Alexander.
And I'm Peter Tilden.
And together, our mission
on the Really No Really podcast
is to get the true answers to life's baffling questions like
why the bathroom door doesn't go all the way to the floor, what's in the museum of failure, and does your dog truly love you? We have the answer.
Go to reallynoreally.com
and register to win $500, a guest spot on our podcast, or a limited edition signed Jason bobblehead. The Really No Really podcast.
Follow us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Before there was internet fraud and phone scams, there were always swindlers. Female swindlers, too. Discover the stories of women from the past who not only survived, but thrived as con artists and thieves. How did they use their feminine characteristics to swindle in a world where men made the rules? Join me, Lucy Worsley, historian and author, and my all-female team in Lady Swindlers, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello. From Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month, we're diving into the Divas of history, examining how the label has been used with many angles, whether describing women pejoratively or with admiration. Today, we're talking about one of the brightest stars from Hollywood's golden age. Known for her natural beauty, turbulent love life, and feisty personality, she embodies all the diamonds and drama of Tinseltown. Let's meet Ava Gardner. Ava was born on Christmas Eve in 1922 to Jonas and Molly Gardner. She was their seventh child, and they all lived together in a white two-story farmhouse in North Carolina, surrounded by fields of cotton and tobacco. When Ava was 18 years old, she jetted to New York City to visit her older sister, Beatrice, whom she lovingly called Bappy. Bappy was married to a professional photographer named Larry Tarr. One day, he decided to take a portrait of Ava. Larry was so proud of the image, he hung it up in the window of his Fifth Avenue studio. Ava's portrait quickly caught the attention of others. A young man pretending to be an agent for MGM promised he would connect her with the right people at the studio and launch her career. This, however, was a lie, concocted to get a date with Ava. The date never happened, but Ava found the connections at MGM anyway. Larry and Bappy sent the portrait to the movie studio's New York office, and they soon contacted Ava for a screen test. Ava walked through the doors of MGM for her first interview with Bappy by her side for support. She started reading a sample script, but the agent couldn't understand her thick Southern accent. He asked that Ava return the next day for a silent screen test. She did, and charmed everyone with her expressive face and effortless beauty. MGM offered Ava a 7-year contract starting at $50 a week. Ava had a ticket to Hollywood. In August of 1941, Ava and Bappy boarded a train for California. Ava arrived with one pair of shoes and a cardboard suitcase. A publicist who was there when she arrived wrote, "Her ass is great, fine tits, short but good legs, great shoulders, thin hips, fix the toes, do the hair, clean it, but don't touch the face." Everybody and every camera is drawn to that face. The town is jammed with pretty, but not like that. The eyes, the mouth are from another world. Her second day in town, Ava was given a tour of the set of Babes on Broadway. There, her otherworldly face caught the eyes of Mickey Rooney, who was in the middle of a Carmen Miranda impersonation. Still wearing a turban covered in fruit and platform heels, he walked over to Ava and introduced himself. 5 months later, Mickey and Ava were married. For a year, Mickey and Ava were seen all over Hollywood together at the hottest nightclubs, and even at President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's birthday party. But Mickey was dishonest and unfaithful, and the pair quickly divorced. After that, Ava had another short-lived romance with the composer, musician, and bandleader Artie Shaw. They married in 1945 when Ava was 22 and Artie was 35. But the couple was ill-matched. Where Artie wanted Ava to sit quietly while he socialized with his intellectual friends, Ava wanted to kick off her shoes and speak her mind. They too quickly divorced. For the first 5 years or so of her career, MGM only gave Ava walk-on roles, often uncredited. She got her big break in 1946 when she was cast in a noir adaptation of Ernest Hemingway's story, The Killers.
Touch me and you won't live till morning.
The following year, Ava appeared opposite Hollywood heartthrob Clark Gable in The Hucksters.
Why do we talk with our eyes as we sit across the table?
And then 2 years later, opposite Gregory Peck in The Great Sinner.
Queen of Diamonds. It's danger. It means
A selfish female you can't resist.
Around this time, Ava met the blue-eyed crooner Frank Sinatra. The two were at a Hollywood studio party when Frank Sinatra, very drunk and very married, asked Ava, "Why don't we get out of here?" Frank took Ava for a drive and ended up in a desert town called Indio. In between makeout sessions, Frank brought out a gun and started shooting out streetlights. Ava took the gun herself and shot the window of a hardware store. The night ended with the two being apprehended by police. Ava later told her sister Bappy it was a wonderful time. In 1951, Ava and Frank married. Their relationship was turbulent, filled with public fights and dramatic reconciliations. Meanwhile, Ava earned bigger and bigger movie roles. In 1953, she starred in the film Magumbo. She received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for her portrayal of socialite Eloise Honeybear Kelly. Ava claims she was relieved when she didn't win. She didn't want to take her career more seriously. In 1957, Ava and Frank divorced. Tired of the constant press and public attention, Ava moved to Madrid. Her downstairs neighbor was none other than exiled Argentine dictator Juan Perón. Ava befriended Juan's second wife, Isabel. They'd sit in the kitchen together and make empanadas. Eventually, though, the relationship soured. The Peróns grew irritated at Ava's all-night parties, and Ava grew irritated at Juan's unconventional speeches. Juan had a habit of standing on his balcony and loudly addressing an imaginary audience. Whenever he took to the balcony, Ava and her maid would heckle him. In 1964, Ava starred in an adaptation of the Tennessee Williams play The Night of the Iguana. Ava played Maxine, the widowed owner of a rundown hotel in Mexico. For the role, she brought out her old Southern drawl that she'd hidden away since her earliest days in the business. "I really brought that broad to life," Ava said. It's considered one of Ava's great performances, even though the set was more of a raucous party than a professional workplace. As a welcome gift, the director, John Huston, gave everyone gold-plated handguns complete with bullets inscribed with the names of cast members. Often, work for the day was finished by noon because Ava and her co-star Richard Burton were too drunk to function. In 1968, Ava was ready for a quieter life. She moved to London, though she still returned to the U.S. for public appearances and to visit her family. She starred in a handful of thrillers and horror films in the 1970s and made appearances in television shows such as the CBS soap opera Knots Landing. In the 1980s, Ava's health started to decline, and on January 25, 1990, Ava passed away. She was 67 years old. She was buried in the Gardner family plot in North Carolina. All month, we're talking about divas. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
I'm Jason Alexander.
And I'm Peter Tilden.
And together, our mission
On the Really Know Really podcast
is to get the true answers to life's baffling questions like,
why the bathroom door doesn't go all the way to the floor, what's in the museum of failure, and does your dog truly love you? We have the answer.
go to reallyknowreally.com
And register to win $500, a guest spot on our podcast, or a limited edition signed Jason bobblehead. The Really Know Really podcast.
Follow us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Before there was internet fraud and phone scams, there were always swindlers. Female swindlers, too. Discover the stories of women from the past who not only survived, but thrived as con artists and thieves. How did they use their feminine characteristics to swindle in a world where men made the rules? Join me, Lucy Worsley, historian and author, and my all-female team in Lady Swindlers, wherever you get your podcasts.